Bulavinaka and welcome to Close Up. A person living with disabilities, a victim of domestic violence, or youth facing personal problems. Where do they turn to seek help? While some openly approach relevant authorities, many are shy of doing so. Well, on Close Up this week, we take a look at how mobile technology is bridging that gap in providing a platform to those less fortunate who fear to publicly share their experiences. Pushing the wheelchair on an uneven dusty path along a narrow walkway, he daily manages to move around, more so to earn a living. Kolenio Dangi lives in Valilevu with his family. He has been living with a physical impairment since he was a child. And since then, he has been defying all odds to live a normal life.
Persons living with disability is not really an easy life. The first challenge is you see that is accessibility to everywhere you go, and like you need someone to be there with you all the time, to be your hands and to be your legs, and wherever you want to go. That's the most challenges. You need someone, especially to be there with you, especially in your daily livings. Someone to feed you, someone to look after you while you like all our needs. It's not an easy life.
Dangi describes his goals and dreams that's kept him on the move.
You have the ability. It's not your disability, it's the ability that you can do something that an able person can do. That's the most interesting. It's the ability.
And you also have a family?
Yes, I just get married last year. It's indeed a blessing for me, having a wife and 2 kids. It's indeed a blessing.
He is one of 5 children in his family, and his mother has been his extra arms and legs.
It was hard for me when he was in school in Hilton, special school, and after that he was coming up in Garcia's house. I was there. When I look after my son, I was beside him. I go to school every day and look after him for the food and the clothes and all the things. It's hard to me, but I'm not working nicely in the heart, in the office like that. But of my education is not enough good for me. That's why I'm going around to look after, eat and go there and go around. Sometimes I look after my children. One week I go in house girl, only 3 days, I got $21.
Actually, before I got this disability, I was dreaming of something far better. I always want to be a soldier when I was young. But when I got this disability, I like information system, like computing. That's my dream. I'm dreaming, and my goal is to reach the highest level of doing information technology in IT. That's my dream. That's my goal. That's what my heart desire. For persons with disability out there, do not look down on yourself. There's far better things that is provided out there. There's far things that our mind cannot imagine, our life cannot see, our eyes cannot see, that there are for persons with disabilities, and I'm encouraging those who can see the needs that we have and to support us.
The story of a paraplegic patient in Vatuanga is no different from Dangi's. Mary Roden has been at the mercy of a wheelchair for 8 years now. It's the daily little chores that challenges Mary every day.
Now we've come home and we know that the entrance up we've got a temporary ramp which is steep, so I need my husband to wheel me up, and if it wasn't that steep I would be able to wheel myself up into the house and out. And of course we have a lot of changes to be done up with the house. the door is not wide enough. You can see how much I was trying to get in. My husband is to squeeze the wheelchair in. And that's going to cause a lot of damages to the wheelchair itself, getting into a tight space. Yeah, but then finally I managed to get in and out somehow with the help of my husband or whoever comes in to take me out for the day.
It's the stigma that goes with it. Many things. But over the years you managed to cope because time is the best healer. So I'm still hanging there and doing it.
There's a big problem in getting in transport, accessible transport. Well, with what we've received from a kind donor, this lady, the volunteer who's with us now, AVI volunteer, I think this is going to be a big help. We've just used this twice, I think, we've traveled twice in this accessible van. This vehicle here has been, it's something that the government, I think, needs to look into, that we badly need accessible transport to be able to get to places that we would like to.
Addressing the needs of persons living with disabilities has always been a challenge for the authorities. This is where the Spinal Injuries Association comes into play. It is the only association that provides assistance to those living with physical impairment.
Currently, I can tell you we receive about a total of about 45 to 50 new beneficiaries every month. People requesting for equipments. So every month, you're talking about the number gradually building up. I do know that the media has always highlighted, since we started our service delivery program in 2010. In 2010, we only brought in one shipment. And it took us about 3-4 months in order to deliver out those equipments. It's only 4 years down the road. And the thing is, this year we're expecting 6 shipments that's been confirmed. And we still can't meet the demand.
For the 6 months alone, the association has provided assistance to some 700 persons and 40 organizations such as special schools and hospitals.
Now, because the cost of living has gone up, the deterioration becomes faster is because medical consumables, a packet of adult diapers, is beyond $30. Realistically, that's extremely expensive. They got to fork that out of their pockets, and that's on a weekly basis. You're talking about $120 a month, for medical consumables alone. And then you're talking about medication, you're talking about dressing. It's not cheap to be a person with disability. But we need government to start realizing that there needs to be a national procurement budget for equipments. There needs to be a better follow-up system in place. We've got to work collaboratively together. At the moment, we seem to be on one end of the spectrum, is whereby the doctors will write a request for assistance on behalf of the patient, needing a wheelchair, and then send it to civil society organizations such as us.
With growing demand, the association has forged partnerships with various organizations to provide the needed support to persons living with disabilities.
So what we identified is a lot of these individuals don't belong to organizations. In the past, most organizations are set up as advocacy and awareness organizations. That's going to change. We've got to work collectively together in order to address the pandemic that has hit us.
One such partnership is with the Vodafone ATH Foundation.
The partnership that we have is not only on funds. They don't give us the money and tell us, here's the money, thank you very much, send us a report. At the end of the year, give us an update on how the funds are utilized. Goodbye. No. It's a daily interaction.
Domestic violence or violence against women and children has been an age-old issue, not only here but throughout the world. A growing social issue, in fact, that various authorities are constantly battling against. A report by the Fiji Women's Crisis Center revealed that close to 64% of Fijian women have suffered from some form of violence.
As to eradicating it, we try to help. All organizations try to help to at least minimize its existence. So as to completely taking it out, I'm not too sure whether we can really resolve the issue.
The report also reveals that 58% of women here have been emotionally abused. Physical abuse is also a major concern for the authorities.
The cases are being reported more. It doesn't mean that there's no, cases have increased. It's just an indication that people are now taking some actions for themselves and now reporting and say, look, no, I want to stop this culture or this cycle of violence, and I want to report it. And it's a fantastic thing that it's happening because there's been a lot of awareness on it as well. And there's been many organizations that are doing advocacy on this issue, and that's raising awareness, and people get to know about it, people get to know about their rights, and so the reports come through.
While some victims of domestic violence have come out and spoken about their experiences and sought assistance, some still believed to be shy of reporting the matter.
It's very difficult to talk about personal things, and very difficult to talk about something that's been happening to you. So I can understand there's a lot of barriers to reporting. And in Fiji, what I've seen is that in a lot of organizations have mentioned it as already, is that culture sometimes is a barrier to culture and religion, sometimes a barrier to talking about these issues because of the, the structure, the social structure. So where you're not comfortable to talk to, to Tulanganikoro about domestic violence and things like that. So there's a lot of hindrances to reporting. First of all, it's a personal issue. Second of all, whether you have the confidence to talk about that issue, and do you know what you need to talk about, and whoever you're talking to, do you trust that person enough to talk about the issue without it being spread to the entire community?
Fiji is also not immune to youth-related issues. As per Fiji's national youth policy, youths are between the ages of 15 to 35, making a sizable 36.8% of total population. Their issues are unique in its own sense.
One of the current issues of Fiji is that young people are engaging a lot in terms of drug and substance abuse. Before we talk about drug and substance abuse, we talk about alcohol, we talk about marijuana, we talk about smoking. But now we can see that glue sniffing is also in rise. Recently we went in schools out conducting student leadership seminar, and we found out that there were a higher number of young people who were glue sniffing, but they had very less idea of what were the impacts of such activities. We found out that smoking between young people is also increasing. More issue is that in terms of the violence and sexual activities that young people are engaging in, having unprotected sex, which is giving rise to teenage pregnancies, increase in HIV and AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases. This is and we have found out that people as young as 14 and 15 are engaging into sexual activities, even low age.
Amidst these issues, unemployment and access to education is also hitting young Fijians hard.
At the moment as we speak, 17% young people who are unemployed, and there are approximately 80% young people who go into high school only. The rest of the 20% don't reach to high schools. And stats also said that out of those who graduate from high school, 34% of them actually reach tertiary schools.
One thing that has come out is the need for youth, women and children to speak out and make their voices heard. This is where the short message service or the SMS channels set up by the organizations have played a vital role.
They subscribe to this platform that we're talking about. And what they do is that once they subscribe to that, they, on daily basis, after 24 hours, they receive capacity building messages. When we talk about messages such as on employment, how do you find employment? How do you address drug and substance abuse? How do you address violence? How do you address cyberbullying? How do you address various other young people's issues?
So through the work that I'm trying to do through the channel, we're giving them that sort of leverage. You said, well, without going to the village headman or anybody that you might not be comfortable to talk to, from the privacy of your phones, ask a question, any question, and you don't see the person. It's your phone. Whatever response is good is yours. So they don't have people to judge them. They don't have people to comment on their personal lives or might talk to others about their personal lives.
Now, what we are trying to promote is that we are trying to promote that even though there's lack of employment opportunities outside, let's work into creating employment. Why not take advantage of the skills and knowledge that is acquired through education, even in high school and in universities? Why don't you use that knowledge to create employment? So why don't we engage in small business opportunities? Why don't we engage in entrepreneurial opportunities? There are a lot of microfinance opportunities out there.
This could be one innovative way to disseminate information more efficiently. More than 25,000 people, fairly represented by men and women, have subscribed to the M-Women platform. This speaks volumes of mass information that is disseminated to people at once.
They get educational or tips and information on the laws of domestic violence, child protection, child rights, sexual offences and sexual abuse, information on stress management, anger management, communication skills. That's the first part of the channel, M-Women channel. And the second part is the SMS Advisor, the M Counseling channel, where that's two-way communication. So subscription is one way where we provide them tips and information. SMS Advisor is two-way where there's a communication between the customer and the channel itself. The sort of questions that come up is still very basic of what's abuse, what's domestic violence. And that gives me an indication of what I need to do to then take to the communities. So what we've seen so far, there's still a lot of basic questions. People don't know what rape is, or at least what the law says now on rape. And so the law is changing. The law changes. And so that's how we're addressing it, and that's how we addressing the questions. So.
In our final segment, we speak to the organization that is the brainchild behind some of these innovative technological solutions to our growing social issues. The Vodafone ATH Foundation this year is celebrating a decade of social change. Since its establishment in 2004, the foundation has invested more than $15 million into its community work. Providing SMS channels is just a part of its social corporate responsibility.
We have M-Youth channel, we have M-Women channel, we have M-Health channel, M-Diabetes, M-High Blood Pressure, M-Sex Education. Now these channels we developed to push information to those who are interested. Currently, as I speak, there is over 128,000 people whom we reach on daily basis with the 20 channels that we have developed.
Are these active users?
Active users. When we developed M-Women channel, within 2 hours there were 16,000 people subscribed, out of which 65% were male and 35% were women. Now, when we see that many number of people subscribing, that means there is a real issue on the ground.
The foundation works with more than 300 partners to implement its projects. Under its World of Difference program, volunteers are even paid to work for community.
We work around environment, health, education, youth, women, and recently we have also identified that there's specific health problems. For example, there's increase in cervical cancer, which is because of human papillomavirus, which is having multiple sexual partners and unsafe sex. So as soon as we get these kind of steps from the professionals like the doctors, the nurses, the midwives, and also the lawyers and the counselors, what we do is we get them to volunteer on our programs.
With the high prevalence rate of social issues, embracing technology to find effective solutions may have just done the trick.
For the channels, we don't only push information through the channels, we also go and conduct face-to-face symposiums. Just recently we were in Sawani and we conducted an M-Fitness symposium. And this, the club, the soccer club, they identified and they said that our wives need training on what we should be eating, the cooking and all that. And they said that, that from the next day, the very morning, the husbands were walking in front, the wives were following like they went for their 30 minutes. So small changes, if it could be brought about, from the learnings that is taking place through the channels, then it's big for us.
Social structures and taboos have long been the main reasons for victims of social issues failing to speak out. With the help of the mobile technology, that barrier is now slowly fading away.
We're thinking of opening the channel where people can push information. On our M-Counseling channel, what we have seen is there's about 11,000 queries that came within 7 months. Basic things were that, I've been sexually assaulted for the last 12 years and I don't want to go, and report because my mother is involved or my, the family is involved, and I fear that, if I do something, then there will be a breakdown in the structure, the family structure and all. Sexual assault. There's also cases of child abuse where people are asking what is basically child abuse. How am I supposed to know that I'm abused? And domestic violence. People asking simple questions. I go through this every day, and I'd like to take out a restraining order. What is restraining order? Where can I get help? Basic information.
The foundation also has its fingers dipped in other philanthropic work, such as sending patients for overseas treatment. With a growing number of NCD-related cases, the foundation receives an average of 10 requests in a single day.
We don't have that kind of funding to support everyone. So what happened in that case is that our trustees came together and they said, okay, let's help the children with heart elements that cannot be treated here in Fiji. So far we have treated 75 in partnership with the Children's Heart Foundation. 75 children who otherwise would not have been living today, and now they're leading a normal life after the operations. And the average cost of an operation is about 18 to 22,000. We have also worked with the disabled children, who can be treated, corrected, who are physically not that normal, and there's about 55 children who have been supported in partnership with the Wings of Morning Ministry.
Well, that is the show for tonight. For questions or comments, please email us on closeup@fijitv.com.fj. You can also like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Join us again same time next week. Until then, good evening.